Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Superboy Beyond. And we've got another of our commentaries for you today with Legion of Superheroes Episode 3, Legacy. And since it's titled Legacy and the trailer for James Gunn's Superman was just released, I thought I'd bump this episode up a little bit early, mess with the schedule a little bit, and release this soon so we can give you our thoughts on the first teaser trailer for James Gunn's Superman. I mean, I'll just say first off, I thought it was a really great trailer. I must have watched it like 6-7 times just within the hour that it had dropped. How about you?
I think I've watched it at least 9 times over the last a few times when it first dropped. Well, not right when it first dropped because I was at work, but I watched it at least 3 times when I was on lunch. And oh my god.
Yeah, it looks so good. Crypto looks great, you know. I mean, what a ballsy way for them to open it as well, though. Superman, like, struggling to breathe. Like, it sounds like he's got a punctured lung or something. And, like, as soon as he starts whistling, it's like, oh, shit, here comes Crypto. And, yeah, the CG on Crypto looked pretty good. I'm guessing that those are some of the shots that are finished at this point. And there's... Because, you know, that CG looked good for a trailer. That looked good. I don't know if it'll improve anymore by the time it releases, but if it looks like that, I'm happy because I watched the trailer in 4K and it looked good to me. Plus, Crypto's an alien breed anyway. He's not going to look exactly like an Earth dog. What about that trailer? That one shot where Superman saves the little girl, shields her from the stuff behind. I mean,
oh, that was so awesome.
Yeah, what a shot. And it is so nice just seeing Superman saving people, because Man of Steel, he saved a few people, but then it gets like the final fight and he's not really doing very much to help the civilians. In this, it looks like actually, like, Superman actually saving lives is going to be a focus. And yeah, I'm very happy about that. The suit looks good. You know, maybe it looks a little bit loose still, but I don't mind that. It's a different take. I'm guessing it's just supposed to be Kryptonian clothing, and I don't see why a scientist like Jor-El would be walking around in a skin-tight bodysuit. So it does make some sense.
Or even if it was skin-tight, you know, it looks like cloth that moves. It's not like a second skin.
Yeah. I mean, I like the suit. I think where it does look a little bit loose at times, I don't know. I like the fact that they're trying to give us something different. Okay, maybe I would have preferred a little bit. There's still a few things I have with the costume. It's not perfect in my opinion, you know. I would have preferred a wider collar on it for one. The rest of the suit is pretty much perfect, you know. The colors are great. The emblem, you know, I would have gone for the classic emblem personally, but I mean, I like this yellow version of the Kingdom Come logo. I don't know. I think the suit overall works. And I love the fact that Superman's actually got color in his suit again, because it's been a while. You know, even a show like Superman and Lois, which has a really hopeful tone a lot of the time. I mean, okay, it's not afraid to get into some dark territory, some really sad stuff as well. But yeah, for a version of the character that was so close to the comics in so many ways, it's a shame that show didn't have a little bit of a brighter suit. That's the main problem I have with that suit, is apart from just, you know, the muscles, the fake muscles that they put into it, it's just the color that I've got an issue with, really, with that suit. So it's nice to see a very brightly saturated version again. Yeah.
And one of the best things is, you know, the reuse and reorchestration of the John Williams theme for the trailer.
Yeah.
My friend Pat messaged me the day it dropped, and he says, "Did you see it?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, we ended up talking about it for a good 10-15 minutes. And he says, when I heard that theme, it was giving me shivers. And I'm not a Superman fan, but oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, that theme tune is iconic. You know,
Yeah.
it is the most recognizable superhero theme tune, maybe of all time. You know, you could argue that maybe Danny Elfman's Batman or even the 60s Batman come
Yeah.
close, but it's John Williams' Superman theme is the definitive superhero theme tune, in my opinion. And okay, I'm saying that as a massive Superman fan, but yeah, it's just a great theme tune. I hope that there's still going to be plenty of original themes in the movie, but the fact that they're using at least a little bit of John Williams, I don't think there's any problem. I don't have any problem with that. I think
Yeah.
it's one of those things where they've been fighting it for a while, and like they kept sort of toying with it with like the Zack Snyder, not the Zack Snyder, the Joss Whedon version of Justice League. Like they had a little bit of John Williams in there.
Well, the Zack Snyder version of the same scene does have the Williams theme, but I think that theme was used in the wrong context in both versions of the movie.
Hmm.
It's a
Yeah, I
scene
mean,
of Superman
it
going
doesn't
nuts and
quite work.
attacking people.
Yeah, it sort of turned it into a villain theme, and
Yeah, to
obviously,
me it feels like they're taking that theme and they're basically giving a giant fu to the fans.
yeah, yeah, a
Which,
little bit.
if you think about it, it's Zack Snyder. Yeah,
I mean,
I
at
can
that
see that.
moment, I don't remember that theme being used in the Snyder cut. Personally, I think it might have only been Joss Whedon that used it, but
I'm
it
pretty
still didn't
sure.
work. But
Yeah, I'm
and
pretty
at the
sure it's
very
also
least,
in the Snyder version.
maybe it was, maybe it was. But I mean, at the very least, with the Whedon version, like when Superman comes back at the end, like to help with the final fight, like when he comes in, they do use the theme as a triumphant moment for Superman. At least, like
Yeah,
there's one moment of them using it, right? And I know at the end of Black Adam, they excuse me, at the end of Black Adam, they used a little bit of it when Henry Cavill had his cameo. Um, so
that
yeah,
went
they've been
nowhere.
toying with bringing it back, but they've sort of, I don't know. It's felt like in the past they've used it just to try and trick people into nostalgia, whereas this, because it's a Superman movie, it feels like it's justified. You know, it's not a tiny little
Yeah,
nostalgic beat in a team up or something. You know, even though there are multiple heroes in this,
yeah,
I still don't
and
think Guy Gardner's wig looks any good though. I think it's a
well,
terrible wig. I think they should have just not worried about it. They should have just gone with when they reintroduced him and they just had like the shaved sides and it was just, just give him the cooler haircut. I'm not that worried about the bowler cut, really.
well, he still looks like so.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's the color of it. Maybe they could have gone a little bit darker, made the hair color a little bit closer to Nathan Fillion's natural hair. It doesn't matter if he's blonde or whatever color, in my opinion. Just you either get the color right or the hair cut, like the haircut right. But I don't think both quite worked in live action for me. Maybe it'll work
Yeah,
better for me in the actual film. It might just be that of the two shots we've seen of him, he just doesn't quite work in those shots for me. Um,
yeah.
but
Um,
overall, I mean, Hawk Girl looks great. Her cowl looks fantastic in that one shot where she's flying. Um,
yeah.
there's that one shot. There's the close up of the alien looking face, and some people like it's really weird. I keep seeing on YouTube like reactions and stuff because I like watching that content from time to time. And a load of people when that came up were like, "Is that Brainiac?" And it's like, no, that's Metamorpho.
yeah,
Yeah, who is like an announced part of this film. Like Anthony Carrigan is playing him, and he's fantastic. I can't wait to see Anthony Carrigan as Metamorpho. Um, but yeah,
yeah.
it's not
I'm not
Brainiac.
really familiar with him, other than seeing the few images, and all I could think of when I first saw the images is this guy looks like Rob Schneider without hair.
Little bit. He's if you ever watch Gotham, he plays Victor Zsasz in Gotham, and he
Okay.
gives Victor Zsasz like this sense of humor, and he is just so much fun to watch. Like every scene that he's on screen is just brilliant. He's one of the best characters in the show. He's absolutely fantastic. So maybe if you want to see him in another DC thing, watch him in Gotham. He's also good in, I don't know if you saw on HBO the show Barry, starring Bill Hader, and he plays like a mob boss type thing in that, but he's like a really comical mob boss, and he is just brilliant every moment he's on screen. He's one of the best characters on that show as well. He's just brilliantly talented. I can't wait to see what he does. I'm not even a Metamorpho fan. I know absolutely nothing about that character, but if Anthony Carrigan is going to be playing him, I'm excited. Just because I'd be excited for whatever character. He could be Lex Luthor as well. You know, he's already bald. He'd
Right.
probably been a fantastic Lex Luthor.
But you know, we're saving the best bit for last, and that's just those 2-3 sequences with Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah,
And
when
he
Superman
looks,
flies past his window and he like turns and he looks angry. Yeah, like that's a great
yeah,
shot. There's the shot where he's got the gun. I'm looking forward to seeing what the context is around that shot. I'm guessing it's got a kryptonite bullet in it. Just because otherwise, what's he need a gun for against Superman? But
yeah.
yeah, Nicholas Hoult,
And
I can't wait to see what he does.
I've heard that what James Gunn's take on Lex is he's essentially a sorcerer, and his context is this: yes, he's science, yes, he's technology, but he makes it look so effortless that the science that he uses almost looks like magic.
Yeah, and that's Luthor. He's the smartest man in the world. You know. Yeah.
Although Mr. Terrific could give him a run for his money.
Yeah, true. Maybe that will be part of the conflict. Maybe Lex's tech needs someone to go up against it. Maybe that's where Mr. Terrific comes in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we're all still wondering who this character of Ultraman in the film is. Everybody's already saying, oh, it's Ultraman from the Crime Syndicate from Earth 3. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, there's also rumors that Ultraman in this film is a clone of Superman made by Lex Luthor. So maybe he starts looking like Corrin Sweat and turns more and more, which is basically Bizarro. So I don't know why they wouldn't just call him Bizarro.
Probably because they want to leave that reveal for the end.
Yeah, maybe. It'd be cool. I'd love to see Bizarro in live action again. Superman and Lois technically just had him, but they turned him into Doomsday partway towards the end.
Although technically they started him off looking like Doomsday with the
Yeah,
big suit,
which is really, really cool in my opinion. The fact that they started it off by making us think it was Doomsday, and then it turns out later that it actually is. We just didn't expect it to happen in quite that way. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, have you finished Superman and Lois now?
I still have to watch the final season.
Oh, it's so good. It might be the best season of the show. The fact that they knew they had a shorter episode number and only one season to close off like 3 seasons worth of stories, it is so tight. It's fantastic. Give it a watch. I think you'll like it a lot. And the end episode, the final episode, is fantastic as well. It's one of the best Superman finales, perhaps, that there's ever been.
Yeah,
It's
and
definitely better than Smallville's finale.
There were moments about Smallville's finale that were absolutely great, but the majority of it was crap.
Yeah, it was just Tom Welling not putting the suit on really hurt it. It really did. Like originally, that episode was supposed to be like the second half of that episode was him just as Superman, but they couldn't do it. They had to make do with a couple of close-ups of his face, which made it obvious. But apparently part of it was that Warner Brothers didn't want to pay for the full suit. So even during the shirt rip, apparently all Tom Welling had was essentially a vest. Like if he'd opened his shirt even any further, you would be able to see he didn't have sleeves on the Superman suit.
Also, basically, it's like George Reeves's business suit button-up shirt.
Yeah,
Had no
he said like
sleeves.
most of it was missing. Like literally, he pulled his shirt open as far as he could because if he went any further, you'd see like the edge, and you just see bare
Yeah,
skin. So it's just like, yeah, two things went against that finale. One, Warner Brothers didn't want to pay to make a suit for Tom Welling because Brandon Routh has different measurements. You couldn't just stick him in one of Routh's. You know, I don't know. Maybe
yeah.
they should have just contacted a cosplayer and said like, "You've got a pretty good suit. Maybe you could help us quickly." But I don't know.
Mm,
Overall, I think it was a really good trailer though for Superman. I think it looks really good. Um,
yeah.
the
I
kaiju
cannot
is a
wait till
weird
July.
moment. That's been what was that? You can't
I
wait till
can't wait till
July.
July.
Yeah, and you know it's been rumored for a while that Superman would fight a kaiju at some point, like a giant monster, and you know we've got confirmation of that now, which makes me wonder how many of the other rumors are true. Um, Either way, though, I guess we just got to wait and see as more trailers come out. I can't wait to see what the second trailer looks like. If this is a teaser, and granted, it showed us a lot of moments, but zero context for any of those moments. So the story is still completely a mystery as far as I'm
Yep.
concerned. Yeah, I can't wait to see what they actually reveal in the next trailer. Like, I'm hoping for a little bit more dialogue because in this
Yeah.
trailer, literally all we had was, crypto home, take me home. That's literally all we had. But it is a teaser trailer, so it makes sense.
One question I would love to ask James Gunn, because he's said that he's drawing a lot from the Silver Age with this iteration of Superman. I
Mm,
mean, Crypto. What's his stance on this Superman? Was this Superman Superboy?
I'd
Crypto's
love to know
there,
that.
you
Yeah,
know.
it's one of those things that I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Even if it's just a throwaway away line when he's talking to Ma and Pa, and Pa says, son, you've been doing this since you were 10 years old. You
Yeah,
know.
you don't even need that. You could just have like we know he goes back to Smallville at some point because there's that shot in the trailer with Pa Kent, and all you need really is an establishing shot to establish Smallville. Just have him fly overhead and have the camera pan down. You just see like the "Welcome to Smallville" sign, "Home of Superboy," or something, and
Yeah.
just make the sign look a little bit old. Yeah, just take it, just pull from the comics. That comic recently with the "Welcome to Superboy" sign, that was a perfect little Easter egg.
Yeah,
Um,
that was Superman number 17.
I have no idea. Either way, it was great. I love when they do things like that to bring things back into the canon after a long time away. I know technically Jeff Johns brought Superboy back for Secret Origin, but in that case, like he was doing it completely in secret. Nobody knew that Superboy existed. He was
Knew that
basically the red blue blur.
it was essentially a cross between the red blue blur and Superboy, because he was more like a myth, an
Mm,
urban legend. They've seen this kid flying around that they call the Superboy,
mm,
but nobody ever saw him, and that was their way of getting around the whole lawsuit shenanigans. But since
indeed.
that has been long since solved and filed away, and Superboy was brought back during the end of Doomsday Clock,
Mm,
you know, it would be
yeah.
nice to have that.
Yeah. I mean, what I would really love, it's been a while since we've had like an ongoing Superboy comic book series. Like you would think that if all you would have to do is market this and just say, look, it's set within the same canon as the rest of the DC comic universe right now, but it's a prequel. It's a prequel series about like Superman's origins, training, learning. You could, yeah, like Superman: The
Yeah,
Secret Years. You could make each issue set during a different month of his life or something for the first, I don't know, 5 years of his career, depending on how long you intend it to go on for. But I
yeah.
don't know, an ongoing Superboy series I think would be great. Just market it as a prequel. Prequels are pretty in right now. There's a lot of prequels right now.
Not all
You
of them
know,
good.
not all of them good, but some of them are. I'm really enjoying. I know not everybody's enjoying it, but I mean, I'm a big fan of the Dexter series. And they've just brought that back for a Dexter Original Sin, which is a prequel series about him just starting out as a serial killer. And I actually really like it. I think it's good. I think the cast is good. The writing could be better, but I mean, it's no worse than the last few seasons of Dexter. In fact, I think it's an improvement in some areas. You know, prequels, they're still happening. You know, Better Call Saul was a very popular prequel. It's one of the few prequels that was better than the original in some people's eyes. I think I prefer Breaking Bad, but there are people that genuinely prefer Better Call Saul. So yeah, I think it's about time. It's one of the few things I thought the New 52 did well. You know, they had two different Superman runs, Action Comics and Superman, running at the same time, but one was set 5 years after the other. So you were constantly bouncing back and forth between two periods of this character's life. That's not something you get to do often.
And then after the first two arcs of action, they just jumped ahead to the present,
which is so stupid. They had something unique that they could have really. I mean, okay, it takes a lot more communication between the two sides of the writing team. You know, you would have to make sure that you're not stepping on each other's toes, which I'm guessing logistically would have been a bit of a nightmare. I don't know how well it worked in practice when they were actually doing it. But I mean, the New 52 would suggest that they weren't talking to each other as often as they should have been because it was wildly inconsistent.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just one of those things. I think it could work if they tried again. It would require a lot of planning ahead, but that's fine. Comic books are used to doing that. They have to plan these arcs years in advance sometimes, don't they?
Yep.
Just purely because some of these arcs take years to pay off. Anyway, that's been 20 minutes of us talking about a 3-minute trailer. So there we go. Should we just get into Legion of Superheroes now? Let's just get this done.
So for all of you who are just joining us for the first time, this is not a typical reaction video. You're not going to see any clips of the show in here. There will be a very heavily filtered version right up there. Okay. And that's just to keep in track with us, you know, because life does happen. You got to go to the bathroom. You got to get a snack. Somebody's at the door. The phone rings, etc. You know, you want to be able to keep in track with us. So for those of you using the Blu-ray complete series set of Legion of Superheroes, this is disc 1, episode 3. For those of you using the DVD set, this is box 1, episode 3. Okay, and this is Legion of Superheroes, season 1, episode 3, Legacy. In 3, 2, 1, play.
And there's Bugs Bunny. So yeah, I thought, you know, we'll put our trailer talk ahead of this episode just purely because it's titled Legacy, and that was the original title for James Gunn's Superman.
Yep. So we start off with a giant mech suit with a girl talking, skimming the skyways of New Metropolis. And she's got red hair and freckles. So one would assume she's probably a descendant of Jimmy.
Yeah, but I do remember you telling me a few episodes ago that she's actually a Lex descendant, but
we don't find that out until the end of the episode.
That's okay.
Although the major indicator would be that her first name is Alexis. And her outfit is purple and green.
Yeah. I gotta say, and just while the intro goes on, I do love the designs for the future, like the future city and all of that. I just think it's such a cool design.
Yeah.
It's slightly retro, but it's still got some futurism in there, and it's just,
great. James Tucker actually discussed it when in the documentary. I think that's on the next disc. I'm not sure, but he actually discussed their designs for the future. They wanted it to be very reminiscent of Superman the animated series with the retro feel, but they also wanted it to have, more curved lines so that it
Mm.
looks futuristic.
And it almost looks completely alien. Like it's just the perfect way to do the future. Like it's so tempting with the future to just make cities look basically the same. Just have a few buildings that are like 5 times the size, maybe a couple of flying cars, and call it a day. But
Yeah.
this, it's just everything about it is just completely alien.
And of course, Lightning Lad being a jerk as usual.
And yeah, the name Alexis, richest girl in the galaxy. The clues are building up pretty fast that it's a Luthor descendant.
Yeah. And the way they portray this character, she's kind of like a bit of a snot nosed Lindsay Lohan type.
Mm.
Everything's about her.
And I do like the design for Brainiac 5. How, like, I'm guessing it's just a way to save money with that previous shot. Just have his head in and just give him a really long neck. Like, it's a way to save money. You don't have to animate the body, but it fits the character. It's great. It's a perfect bit of character design.
Yeah.
And with animated shows that they did absolutely everything they could to save money where they could. Which is probably why this show doesn't have a yellow S on the cape either.
Mm.
The fact that the Ruby Spears show bothered to do the yellow S is probably an indicator of part of why the studio kind of died. Because
Well, there were
maybe they didn't save money where they could have, and if they had, maybe they could have afforded to keep going a little bit more.
the problem with Ruby Spears isn't that they spent all this money on little stuff. The problem is that they made a lot of mistakes backing projects that didn't pan out.
Oh, that's a shame.
That could have been really great, and they did great job on them. The Sectors 5-part animated series is one of those items.
Never even heard of it, to be honest.
Chuck Norris's Karate Commandos, only 5 episodes were ever made.
I have heard of that one, the Chuck Norris animated series. I've heard it's pretty bad though.
It's not great. It's not horrible though.
It's about on par for Chuck Norris, I guess. Not great, not horrible, just standard Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Although I shouldn't say that because he'll find and hunt me down. Kill me with a roundhouse. And yeah, they definitely, with the freckles, they definitely were trying to put a Jimmy sort of thing in your head. But yeah, the colours, the purple and green, like that's very Lex. Then again, purple and green is very default villain for comic books back in the day. Like I know Marvel did it a lot. Green Goblin is a primary example.
And if you notice, the brooch that she has at her neck and then the buckle, the way yeah, they're giving us clues as to the fact that she's a Luthor from the get-go.
And yet Clark presumably wouldn't know that Lex Luthor's a villain at this point.
Yeah, because
like he probably just thinks of Luthor as just like this philanthropist, this entrepreneur.
Yeah. And did you see the little cameo there?
I missed it.
The guy whose bike they stole. It's Lobo.
Oh, was it? I missed that. I completely missed Lobo. Does he make another appearance in this, or is it like a single cameo?
It's a single cameo.
Well, how how long does Lobo's species live? Like, how old must he be at this point? Unless he, like, I don't know, got sucked into a wormhole or something at some point and spat out in the future.
Yeah.
That's a shame, though. It would have been fun to have an actual Lobo episode. I wonder if he's a good guy by this point in the future, like if he's changed his ways.
Yeah, I doubt it. I really doubt it.
Yeah. Well, whether he has or not, he's still the main man.
Yeah. So they're now establishing the fact that she runs this company, she has an office, and she's a scientific genius.
Hmm.
So we're pulling in all of the versions of Lex here.
So not so much a Lindsay Lohan type then, being a
Well,
genius.
well, the arrogance that she has.
Yeah. Although I've not heard any stories about Lindsay Lohan in quite a long time. Maybe she's turned her life around. I hope so. I always
Yeah.
thought she was a good actress. I remember as a kid seeing her in the remake of The Parent Trap, and I thought she was great in that, playing both the twins.
Yep. And now we get a battle with a group called the Scavengers. They're techno terrorists,
Mm.
and they scavenge technology from everybody. This was something all new for the DCU. They never had a group like this before in the Legion. There was a scavenger in the 90s Superboy comic, but he stole technology from other people
Mm.
to hoard it. He was basically like a collector.
I'm glad that this show is actually creating new villains and stuff, because that's one thing that animation's always been good at. Harley Quinn was created for animation, like Mercy Graves was invented for animation.
Livewire.
Livewire, yeah. And let's face it, I mean, there are a lot of Legion villains that they could have used, but like I'm guessing that this group is an ongoing threat that comes back in later episodes.
They make one further appearance.
Well, it's better than none. You know, I was thinking they were setting them up as like an ongoing problem, but maybe not. Well, I think Superman is about to learn a lesson about, not doing that.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
Well, I see why Clark turns off the communicator here, because Brainy has been bombarding him with messages all evening. So he just assumed it was another, stupid message. And they're kind of setting up the interaction between Brainy and Superman as kind of an unrequited relationship,
Hmm.
because
Yeah, I like though that someone just, I forget the character's name, just actually backed up Superman a little bit there, just saying, "Oh, the regularly scheduled updates. Yeah, no wonder he turned you off."
yeah.
So I guess they all know that Brainy can be a little bit
Annoying.
much. Yeah. So yeah, I'm guessing by the end she'll be a full-on villain.
And it's all because of the actions here. It's she when she was sitting there talking to him in her office, she was saying that she doesn't have the chance because of her intellect, because of the fact that she has so many responsibilities as this big, corporate mogul, to enjoy people,
Mm.
to just have fun. So they're playing her up as like, the obsessed girl, wannabe girlfriend.
Hmm. And it doesn't seem to be the case, but I was assuming earlier the fact that she kept Superboy from going to there, like to lend his help. I was guessing that it was just she was trying to keep him busy so that he couldn't go and help, but I'm guessing that's not the case now. Guessing she has
Uh,
nothing to do with the gang of whatever they were called.
no, she has nothing to do with them yet.
Hmm.
That's all I'm going to say.
I still think one of the best things about this show, though, is just the fact that, Superman has these early years that we very rarely get to see where he's training to be Superman. And sometimes that the assumption is that he spent those years at the fortress training with Jor-El.
Yep.
But the idea that he goes to the future and trains with the Legion is a
Yeah,
really interesting thing.
it's like what I've said before. The whole thing about the Legion is it's a cyclical argument.
Mm.
The Legion learned how to be heroes from watching the Legend of Superman, so they
And he
bring
learns it
forth.
from the Legion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he learns from the Legion. So one thing leads to another to another. It's an
Mm.
ontological paradox, as they call it.
I don't know how she's yawning while watching this fight, though. Oh,
Well,
so she was
that's
manipulating him into being there.
yeah.
Mm.
And it turns out the whole time the robot was her butler.
Mm. And it's showing that she's got no actual empathy. She's a total narcissist. He's saying like they need me, whereas she wants, and she thinks that just because she wants something that makes what she wants more important. And clearly that's not the case at all. Yeah. Very Lex Luthor sort of stance to take on something. Everything's about Luthor and everybody else can wait.
Yep.
The designs for this group are interesting. Quite simple, but it works. Well, didn't take much for her to turn full villain, did it?
Nope. But then again, she is a Luthor, so it's in her DNA.
Yeah. So it was a distraction to get Superman out the way, was it? I'm guessing, what's her name, Lexus or whatever, she triggered that or something.
Yep. She's
The
pretty
timing
much.
is, yeah. Their upgraded suits are better. I liked the other design, but I think with the red, yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, the red gives it a more sinister look.
Mm. It looks more like armor as well. The other one, it could easily have just been patterned spandex, whereas this actually looks like armor.
Hmm.
It is fascinating that Superman's going to go up against a descendant of Luthor before Luthor himself, though. Hmm.
And I love how he just gets this pissed off look on his face when he realizes that she's behind it all.
Hmm. Oh, what did she expect? You pick your teammates over me? Well, yeah. Obviously, they're not friggin' psychotic.
I don't know if she was so much psychotic at the beginning, but she's definitely psychotic now.
I mean, I'm pretty sure just to get to that point, she was messed up to begin with. Considering that Clark didn't even he didn't break up with her in a nasty way or anything. He was just like, I don't appreciate being manipulated. She couldn't even understand that she'd done something wrong, really. I mean, she apologized, but then she made it quite clear she didn't understand what she was apologizing for.
Yeah, definite narcissist.
Hmm.
Definite sociopathic tendencies.
Hmm.
They know right from wrong. They
They
just
just
don't
don't care.
understand it.
And yeah, cool at the end that they made her hair fall out. That's definitely going to make her hate Superman.
Yeah, and it's definitely a throwback to classic comics.
Which is another reason it's a shame that this show didn't call him Superboy, because it makes more sense for Superboy to be in that story, just purely because he was Superboy in the original.
Yep.
But
But the whole thing is, again, the original plan was to call the show Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes, and because of the lawsuit that was going on during 2006, they couldn't.
yeah. So that was the Legion of Superheroes, season 1, episode 3, Legacy.
Yep.
And I think that might be my favorite episode so far, actually. I like the action. I like the world building with the the group of scavengers. I forget what were they just
Yep.
called, scavengers?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the most
great.
interesting thing is, as you're looking at her her prison jumpsuit, the gray prison jumpsuit, if you look at the lettering that is on the shirt in Interlac, it spells out Luthor.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious as soon as she loses her hair who she actually is. I'm glad that they didn't actually have a scene where they spelled it out and explained to Superman who Luthor is and like just gave basically a PowerPoint presentation on his future. I'm glad
Yeah,
that they left it subtle. Yeah, really good episode. I think it's easily an 8, maybe even an 8.5.
definitely. It's as you just said, it's a shame that the show didn't go on past 2 seasons. But I think that's right at the end when the WB kids / CW kids was transitioning, and they were
Yeah,
trying to get rid of stuff.
it's a shame, but 2 seasons isn't bad. Is it season 2 where they update Superman's like design to be more muscular?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
because
maybe I don't know, maybe a third season would have been enough to close off the story and send him back to the present kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, it is noted one thing. The voice of her robot butler is actually John DiMaggio.
Huh. Bender.
Yes, Bender himself.
Yeah.
They have a lot of famous, voice actors or famous actors doing voices in the
Mm.
show. Um,
I
the
mean, I know
next
Yuri Lowenthal voices Clark, and like he voiced Spider-Man in the recent video games.
Yep,
So like he's still doing superhero voiceover work.
yep.
Um,
The
he's a very
next
good Clark.
episode, Fear Factory, is going to have an appearance by one Dan Castellaneta.
Huh.
Yes, Homer
I like
himself
that.
makes an
Yeah,
appearance.
that'd be fun.
Yeah,
Does he sound anything like some of his Simpsons characters, or is it like a completely different voice?
completely different voice. He's doing more of a Peter Lorre.
Fantastic. I'll look
Yep.
forward to that.
Uh,
Yeah, it's one of those things because like he's a legendary voice actor, but it's like whenever is it Jim Cummings, the original voice of Winnie the Pooh, something like that. But whenever he appears in anything, he sounds like Pooh. Like,
yeah,
like even if he changes the voice slightly, you can still hear it just a little
yeah.
bit. But there's
Oh,
there's some
Father.
voice actors, they're completely different character to character. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was episode 3. So 4 is Fear Factory, 5 is Champions, which is essentially their way of doing the Olympics. 6 is very important. It is called Phantoms. And
That's
I
the
think you
Phantom
can,
Zone one. Yeah.
yes, Phantom Zone episode. There is a escapee from the Phantom Zone.
I'm guessing it's a
Escapes.
descendant of Zod or something.
It's essentially established that he possibly is, but it's never mentioned in dialogue.
That's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Either
And then
way,
we
I'll look
have a
forward to it.
character called Zix in the 7th episode, which is Child's Play, and that's their take on Mixes Pitlick.
I'll look forward to that one too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got some to look forward to. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed our 20-minute discussion of the Superman trailer at the beginning. But this is primarily a Superman channel. I know we occasionally go off into Star Trek or Stargate or any number of other things, but yeah, I thought it was relevant.
Yep.
Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Viacom.